What it is, y'all, it is your old boy Pilk, and I'm coming back at you today with more Danmachi. Today we're going to talk about Record Buster. Now, I'm going to go ahead and jump in here and talk about this real quickly, but first thing you need to know about Record Buster, she is weak to fire. She's weak to magic as well. She will debuff her own magic 50% when she does her SA. So we're going to talk about when and where you want to do SAs in this. Also worth noting, very worth noting, she does seal. So you want to make sure that all of your units have the Sealing Glorious Anklet installed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and jump in here. We're going to talk a little bit about strategy. Now, I do also know you are... the astute of you will notice that the Haruhime I'm using is a light type, not a fire type. What is she doing here? Well, she's a fully bonded, fully ascended unit that removes strength and magic buffs. She hits like a truck. She's kind of like the best unit that I have for this event. I do have other units that I could use, but she's the one that's been producing the most damage, mostly because she does have debuffs that she can apply to the unit. And she does this thing right here. Single target type, 20% plus. That's a buff to all of my opponents, or all of my... Because it's a foes plural, it's a debuff. Now, Reveria does remove her debuffs. She removes her debuffs on turn 6, turn 10. I think those are the other two. Turn 6 and turn 10 she removes debuffs. So we will have to re-debuff with her. So having basically Haruhime on clutch, not only to remove strength buffs on turn 4, 8, and 12, but to also debuff again is going to be super handy. Now, the nice part is Line's buff, the 33% SA gauge charge. That is a buff, so it stays the whole game. It'll be really nice. We'll accrue quite a few SAs, and we're going to talk about some of the differences here. I'm going to go ahead and just do my basic buffs on this turn. The nice part is here, these first couple of turns, you don't have to worry about defenses or anything like that. That's why the OG Haruhime isn't brought in yet. Mostly because she doesn't do any damage on these first 3 turns. So these first 3 turns are pretty much free and clear. We just do whatever we need to do. In this case, you'll notice I'm using Shock T this time. She gives a 35% guard rate and a physical resist 35%. And because it's a buff, as long as we restore it on the next turn, it'll stay in place. So that is something we desperately want to pay attention to. We will want to make sure that that is being applied all of the time. Okay? I'm going to go ahead and do Cicada Shell here. And I'm going to go ahead and do the other debuff. And here we go. Now we've got the OG Haruhime. Now the nice part is we will go ahead and do our buff replication with her. We're going to have to. It's going to be very, very, very important. The one thing I forgot to mention here, because I am using the Freya assist on Reveria, I actually could probably swap Reveria out and put the breastplate on her. That'd give her a little bit more defensive ability. The biggest problem I've had with Reveria is she's a little on the squishy side, so you got to be really, really careful what assist you put on her. I am using Freya because Freya gives her 20% magic, though Freya's magic stat is kind of not great. The 20% kind of makes up for it, and she's still going to produce damage like an absolute truck, so it's going to be fun to watch her work, but she could do better. If I'm honest. I just, unfortunately, I lack Demeter. I just lack Demeter as a character, so it's a thing. Now, in this turn, normally we'd want to do Akane and do that big debuff, but because I feel pretty confident that everybody can survive this fairly well, let's see, we got 2 turns on that. Let's see. Guard rate and physical resist are all up. She's a physical type unit. She's going to buff her strength here in a moment. Now, it is worth noting here as well, she did debuff her magic. She does a 50% debuff on her magic. Normally, it is actually... I'm sorry, a magic 80% debuff. My apologies. 80% debuff on magic. Normally, you'd want to, like, SA whenever you can. Normally, and then the rest of the turns, she's going to do that when she does her SA. So we're going to do... Haruhime's big SA here because we need to do that first. That basically means every other SA we've got to wait until after turn 8, basically turn 9, and then turn 13 again. So we're going to be sandbagging some SAs, but that's going to give us a little bit more opportunity to produce damage. The reason we're doing that is because we want to make sure that that magic debuff is in place before we go too crazy. I am going to go ahead and do our SA here rather than Akane. I'm going to kind of take a gamble on this and hope that we are able to clear it. It's the first SA, so it shouldn't really hurt us. I do need to do Cicada Shell, though. I need to get rid of that strength buff, because if she basically attacks with that strength buff, we are going to not feel good. Probably still make it, but we're not going to be happy about it. Here we go. It is also worth noting we do need to be really cautious with Haruhime, and we need to be careful about how we're using her. After turn 12, on turn 13, you need Haruhime to do Yosuga. So start planning ahead. If you get there and she has to do Sheikah, you're going to hate life. You're going to hate it so much. Alright. See how much damage she produces here. Ooh. Not the end of the world, but definitely not comfortable. So we're going to do Yosuga again. Go ahead and continue our trend of debuffing. That's actually quite good. Fire attribute damage is down to 1, so we'll need to keep all of those up. Yeah. So we're going to do all of that. That does mean I'm going to do Mayfly with her. And all of our main attacks. Let's go. Now on turn 6, we got to do our debuffs all over again. So we're going to pay very close attention to that. And make sure that the debuffs are basically continuing. Alright. So we could do an SA here, but do bear in mind, she's going to remove those debuffs before we can really do much of anything. So, yeah, I don't trust it. I'm going to save everything else until the later turn. You could do it here if you want and gamble on that. It should be the first thing that activates, but I know she removes buffs like immediately, so whether it happens before or after is a big question mark for me. And I'll show you what I'm going to do tactic-wise instead. So follow me here. We're going to do Akane. I'm going to go ahead and do... Oof, I should have done Providence last turn. I wasn't paying attention to her... wasn't paying attention to her stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and do a base attack here with her. There are no debuffs to do with Katori, but we do have to maintain her ki a little bit. Or I say her ki. Her MP. Ah! Wrong game. And I will have to do, because this is a debuff, we'll have to do that on this turn, and I'll have to do this on this turn. So let's go ahead and continue. All right. So we're pretty well good to go there. Pretty well good to go there. I'm going to go back to do Yosuga. I want to make sure the 70% fire is, yes, it's still there. All right. So I'm going to do Providence on this turn because I need to rebuff that. I'm going to go ahead and do Mayfly again. And we're going to go back up here since everything's all in play. And we're going to go ahead and continue with that. We're never ever really concerned about the debuffs here because Riveria's going to basically status debuff plus 2 turns. We mostly worry about the status buffs. So that's a big thing right there. Now, magic down 30%, that's going to be really, really, really important. We'll get to all that here in a moment. Let's go ahead and continue on. So, we got Providence, we got Mayfly, we got Burn Away, we got Yosuga. Let's go. All right. Now, we did need to do Haruhime's very early, and the reason we needed to do her so early is because... right now, we're producing with 100% strength and magic to all units right now. I mean, it's just imperative to get that off ASAP, because while we're not SAing, SAs are going to produce the vast majority of our damage. If you've watched how much damage these units are producing, especially the light Haruhime with her Mayfly, they'd be producing a fraction of that otherwise. So, this is a pretty important portion of the process. So we're going to go ahead and continue on. Turn 8, I'm just going to do Cicada Shell. We're not going to worry about much else. We're just going to continue on this path. Oops. Many apologies for that. There goes her SA. Now you'll notice the damage difference. That's the damage difference when Akane is present along with the strength removal. So while we did not feel good that first time around, we're not really sweating it this time around. It's really no big deal. Okay? Now, do bear in mind here, she has now done, she's debuffed her magic resistance. So magic resistance is now down 80%. Unfortunately, that is not on top of the 30% that we had before, which is truly unfortunate. She does kind of replace that with her own debuff. I would love to see that down 120%, like, or 110% technically, like that one is, but I'd have to have an assist. And the assist that I'm using currently, kind of the best ones I've got for the job. You know, that could be down to 90%, maybe even 95% with the right MLB to assist. But, you know, at some point you got to pick your battles. So, fire's down 120, magic's down 80, physical's still down 20. Let's do a double SA with Katori and Reveria. That's why I said we're going to wait on this. We're going to do double SAs and try to produce the hell out of some damage and see what they do. I'm going to go ahead and go back to Mayfly here, and I'm going to continue Yosuga because we want to make sure that basically our buffs stay in play for a bit. Also, you'll see here in a minute, we're gonna pay really close attention to Haruhime on this kind of line of turns. All right. So Katori produced 1.7 mil. Reveria produces 1.5. Actually, I expected more out of her. But once again, that's why we bring Katori to these things. Katori is an absolute staple of these teams and absolutely mandatory. So I'm going to go ahead and do Akane in this turn. That does mean I'm going to do Sheikah on the next turn. We're going to go ahead and do... See, Providence should still be in place because I did it earlier. Yep, avoid KO times 1 is still up there. So I'm going to do Kameo. I'm going to go ahead and do Cicada Shell for that debuff. I'm going to do Blazing Soul for that debuff. Let's go. All right. So we're back to having an SA, but the one thing to bear in mind here, that magic stat is only down 30%. And if I save that, we can actually get a double SA with Katori and Reveria again. And so I think that's going to be my number one focus. Now, we're going to be good on this one, so I'm not going to lose sleep over that. We're just going to go ahead and do our big hits with these girls. We'll say guys, they're girls. We're going to do a big hit with them on this turn. We're going to do Sheikah, and hopefully that'll be enough to continue doing Yosuga for a couple of turns. I may even have to do Sheikah on turn 12, which I'd hate to do, but it actually might have to be a thing. All right. So we don't really need to heal, if I'm honest. Where are we at stat-wise? Yeah, I'm going to do Sheikah one more time. Now, remember, like I said, we've got to be able to do Yosuga on the next turn. There's just no real way about this. We don't have a choice. We've got to be able to do that. We are out of regen. Let's see. Who did the HP regen? I'm trying to recollect. Unless that was just a thing. Let's see. Let's self 30% MP heal. Yeah. So we'll do Kameo. I don't remember where that actually came from unless it was here. Yep, we're going to have to do that this turn anyway. So So we're going to be good. We're going to do Sheikah on this turn. Because once again, as much as we're going to have some MP healing, I want to make 100% certain that I can do Yosuga on the next turn. So nobody's going to lose anything. We're just going to go ahead and do this. We are debuffed. We're going to take away that strength buff. It's going to not be the greatest thing in history to take all this damage, but Haruhime's got our back with those heals. She didn't heal Riveria, which doesn't give me a very good feeling. But that's fine. And everybody came out of it actually pretty good, so we're good to go there. So we're going to do Yosuga on this turn. I'm going to go ahead and do Kamale, Mayfly, and Burnaway. And then on turn 14, we'll do a double SA. I need to go see. Yeah, so all the debuffs are going to stay in play. They're not going to get removed. So we're going to be fine in that regard. There we go. Really feel like there's probably a way to produce a little bit more damage a little more quickly and to get a little bit more of an SA, but I haven't quite cracked that code yet. I don't think I have the right units to make that work, but I'm going to fart around with that and see. I think there's a way to do it. But let's go ahead and do this. I believe I'm using the Casino Seer. If I'm not using the Casino Seer, I'll check that after this and see. But all right. Lego. Turn 14 with a double SA. I wish I could get one more SA out of this. I really do. Really pains me that we can't do that. Really does. 1.6 mil. Not bad at all. And we're going to get... Come on, girl. You should be able to produce at a much higher level. 1.6 as well. Okay. So it was an RNG failure last time. Does mean maybe one of the things I needed to look into is reducing her guard rate and other such doodads. But, yeah. Go ahead and do just a base attack there. Kamale, Mayfly, Burnaway. Let's go. Last attack. We're not really worried about anybody dying so long as we get our attacks out. And that's the end of the battle. So, 438. I know I've got 500 something in me. So I'm going to keep farting around with this and see where my teams lie. Do I have Casino Seer? I do have Casino Seer on that Haruhime. She is an absolute asset to these teams. Because she does give 100% SA gauge charge for every attack performed. So she is an absolute asset to this team. Looks like I'm going to have to do a little bit more debuffing. Have to fart around with my teams a little more. But global ranking 133, I can do better than that. And local ranking 2, though, top guys in almost to the 700s. If you want to see the team he's running, look familiar? I need that wealth. I'm going to go see if I can farm up some just El Cheapo 4 stars on Sunday stream and see what we can do with him. Though it takes like a few prism bonds. It's not going to happen. Dreams be dreams. Don't let your dreams be dreams, but I am right now. That's going to be the video, guys. Let me know what y'all thought in the comments section down below. Hopefully this helped you guys out, come up with some strategies to take this on. Let me know what numbers you've been getting down there in the comments section. But like I said, Fire Magic is your absolute best friend. Like, comment, share, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.